Four-time Formula One world champion Sebastian Vettel recently tested the Porsche 963 prototype with the Porsche Penske Motorsport. Now, Vettel participated in the 36-hour endurance test at Motorland Aragon in Spain. He ended up competing 118 laps and said he's always followed other racing series, feeling curious about endurance racing, and this has encouraged him to give this a try. Now, multiple Porsche factory drivers who joined Vettel at the test were Matt Campbell, Fred Matuszynski, and Kevin Estre, of course, and Andre Lotterer, who's now of course, from Formula E. Lawrence Vanthoor was in there as well. Now, this endurance test was in preparation for the 24 Hours of Le Mans, and the photo courtesy there of Porsche Motorsport. Kobe's back with us now as well. Starting with you on this one. Do you think that this test for Vettel was just for fun, or does it seem more likely that he's serious about returning to racing?
Well, Josh, after reading Porsche Motorsport press release, he sounds like a guy who's very serious about giving this a go, because you just don't, spend all this time preparing for a test session and then running 118 laps, just being like, hey, I'm retired from Formula One, so I'm just going to go out there for a joyride in a Porsche prototype. It seems like Sebastian Vettel truly worked really hard to prepare for this test and ended up doing extremely well. And according to several outlets, he was like right on pace with the other Porsche drivers, which shouldn't surprise anyone at all. Since retiring from Formula One, Sebastian Vettel's obviously had a lot of time on his hands, and now he has an opportunity to try other forms of motorsport. I remember when he teased the IndyCar, he said that if he could race at one place in IndyCar, it would be at Road America, and that's when Graham Rahal came out and be like, hey, Sebastian, we can get an extra car ready for you at Road America if you want to give IndyCar a go. And I still wish that would happen at some point. It would be nice to see Sebastian Vettel run an IndyCar race at Road America, but right now it seems like he's very interested in endurance racing, and I think it would be awesome if we see him at the 24 Hours of Le Mans later this year or other World Endurance Championship rounds. But it really does seem like that this was more than just a test. That is something that he's very serious about, and we'll see what comes from it.
Well, we all know how close Seb is with the Schumacher clan, and of course Mick is now part of the World Endurance Championship paddock with Alpine, and of course we had the first race of the season at Qatar 3 weeks ago. I managed to finally finish watching it at the weekend, so now I can get on with Sebring. And he's obviously been on the phone, hasn't he? Mick, how was it? Do you think do you think it will suit my driving style, etc., etc.? I'll give my friends at Porsche a ring. I mean, it'd be cool to see. We saw how very adaptable Nico Hülkenberg was in Porsche's last run at the world stage, and of course won Le Mans while still being in the Formula One paddock. Plenty of Formula One drivers making their way across to the WEC paddock in the last few years. You think of John-Eric Verne, Stoffel Van Dorn straight away, the two Peugeot drivers, not many in the Porsche camp, but in the other teams, of course, Kobayashi, Alonso's been there recently as well with Toyota. So it'd be nice to see Seb in. There is still 2 potentially open seats at Porsche for Le Mans. I don't think it'll happen this year, but he might get added maybe for next year. And if maybe at the end through the summer, there's another Porsche test and Mr. S. Vettel is invited, then we know that something more intriguing is happening, and he might end up in the car next season, even maybe for the full year. Who knows? But exactly what WEC would want is, Vettel will bring people to the championship and eyeballs on it. So really good move from Porsche to get him in, and sounded like, as Kobe said from the press release that we got yesterday, he had a great run. They were happy with him. He was happy with them. So he's German. They're German. I don't know really what we can fault with this, really. I think it really does need to happen at some point very soon.
Makes perfect sense to me. I like it. Let's do it. Now, we mentioned this test session was mainly to help Porsche Penske Motorsports prepare for Le Mans. Both full-time Porsche factory teams already had their lineups for Le Mans sorted, but the same thing for the customer teams for Hertz Team Jolter and the Proton competition. However, the number 4 Porsche for the IMSA only has Mathieu Jaminet confirmed, and the 2 seats open, Nick Tanday, Felipe Nasr and Dane Cameron, could be candidates to race at Le Mans. So, Matt, back to you on this one, and then we'll bring Kobe in second. Is it possible that Vettel could make his Le Mans debut with Porsche and take one of the final unconfirmed seats?
I think there's a chance if they don't take the Bedford Bullet, Nick Tandy, then a former winner of the race, then that's madness. So just a waving of a local flag for me here. But we'll see, because of course we've got the test day at the beginning of June, a couple of weeks before the race. If he turns up there, then it really is on the go, because they need to get I think it's 10 laps in the daylight and then 10 laps in the darkness from memory. Someone hopefully watching will pick me up on that. I think it's something along those lines, Josh, you'll probably remember from last year. So you have to get your rookie laps in, a bit like the rookie orientation at Indianapolis for the 500. It's a similar deal. So he'll have to get his laps in. And yeah, I think if he rocks up at the test unannounced, perhaps, and we'll just get some social media stuff on the morning of the test. Oh, look who's here! It's Sebastian Vettel. Then maybe that, if there's still obviously the lineup's not confirmed, but Jenson Button was another name I negated to mention, of former Formula One drivers. He's in the Jota team this season, so in the Porsche. So another man that Seb could be on the phone to, going, how is the car in a race trim? So I mean, anything's possible at this stage. I think we sound like, just speaking for maybe the two or three of us, I think we're all for it. So let's hope it happens.
And someone else is all for it is Adam Limmery's in the chat room saying Seb at Le Mans. That would be awesome. Totally agree with that, Adam. And looking at the two unconfirmed seats for Le Mans in that extra Porsche that was granted entry from the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, it's hard to look at Nick Tandy and a Felipe Nasr, considering how fast they are, and be like, yeah, we need to just pick one of those and sideline the other. So it will be unfortunate if one of those two get left out. I have a feeling Dane Cameron, out of all of the others, he's just glad to be back racing in IMSA this year in the United States. So he might be okay, sitting out the 24 hours of Le Mans. But when you have Tandy and Nasr, I'm like, man, do you really want to bench one of them for Le Mans for Sebastian Vettel, or do one of the drivers from the customer Porsche get punted out for Vettel? I find it hard to believe that one of the two factory entries, it would be surprising to see one of those guys get the boot. But I think an easier thing would be probably try to find them a spot on the customer team. But if they want to boot out Tandy or Nasr or Cameron, whoever could be in contention for this extra seat, putting a 4-time Formula One world champion, that would certainly be special. I think there's a chance he could get one of those seats, but like I always say on these shows, we'll just have to wait and see.
Absolutely, and we will bring you continued news on this as it develops, because as Matt and Kobe have been saying, the tests are looming for the Le Mans season as well in just a few months' time. Isn't it insane? Next month we've got the IndyCar Open test for the 500. Then at the end of that we've got all the running as well in May for the Le Mans 24 hours. Then it's Le Mans. It's insane. So April we've got the test for Indy. May we've got Indy. June we've got the Le Mans 24 hours. It's mad.